Last year when I tested out Merrell's Agility Peak 5, I've got to be honest, I really wasn't expecting a lot from that shoe because I have been slightly disappointed with Merrell trail shoes that I tested out in the past. However, I was really surprised when it rapidly became one of my favourite shoes of 2023, and it's kind of been my go-to trail running shoe for long distance training runs or long distance races ever since. So I got all excited when I heard that the Merrell brand were releasing a new trail shoe, the Morphlite. Now this is a very different design compared to that Agility Peak 5 because it's been designed as a crossover shoe that's going to handle a bit of road running and a bit of trail running and hopefully promote that sort of trail running environment to runners that haven't ventured out there before. And I am all for that because I love a bit of trail running, but the best bit of all is that the shoe retails here in the UK for only £100, which is very impressive indeed, especially in today's crazy running shoe market. So let's dive into the video and find out all about Merrell's new lightweight trail running shoe. Welcome back folks, thanks for joining us for another video. I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure. So here we are with another first impressions video today, and we are going to jump straight in and give you a few stats on the new Merrell Morphlite. So like I've already mentioned, it's been designed to be that crossover shoe that's going to handle lots of different types of terrain and hopefully get runners out in that trail environment. And it retails for that very affordable price tag of only £100. It's also a pretty lightweight shoe, weighing in at only 249 grams in my size, a UK 9.5. We've got a stack height of 26.5mm at the heel and 20mm under the forefoot, giving you quite an unusual heel offset of 6.5mm. And then flipping them over, we've got this multi-directional lug patterned outsole. We've got 2mm lugs down the center, and then we've got 3mm lugs working around the outside of that outsole. Starting at the top, we've got this nice lightweight twin layered engineered mesh construction. We've got a moderate level of padding in that gusseted tongue around the ankle collar and in the heel. We've got some overlays working around those lace eyelets and wrapping up the back of the shoe there. A bit of reinforcement in the toe for some added trail protection. And then last but not least, we've got this really handy elasticated strap on the tongue so you can stow your laces away, making sure that you don't get them snagged on anything when you're out on the trails. But all in all, just a nice, clean, simple upper design. The midsole cushioning utilises the same Float Pro foam that I loved in the Merrell Agility Peak 5, so they should feel really good underfoot. And we've got a slight rocker geometry worked into that midsole construction just for a bit of added efficiency. Another feature I really like about the Morphlite, especially when it's so competitively priced, is the fact that the laces, the webbing, the shoe liner and the footbed liner are made from 100% recycled materials, and the EVA foam footbed is made from 50% recycled materials, and that is great to hear. And finally, moving on to the outsole, and you can see we've got this sort of two-piece design. Unfortunately, that does leave this exposed sort of midfoot on the bottom of the trail shoe, and I'm never a big fan of that. I'd much rather see a full rubber outsole design. Also, you don't get Vibram Mega Grip rubber on the Morphlite like you do on the Agility Peak 5, but then again, I wouldn't expect to see that type of rubber on a £100 price point pair of trail shoes. So we've got those 2mm lugs down the center, 3mm lugs around the outside. So again, it's not been designed to handle those sort of wet, muddy UK winter conditions. It's definitely a shoe that's aimed at that crossover market. So we're going to try and work a bit of that in today's run. So we've got a bit of tarmac to soak up. We're going to have some harder, firmer, more compact trails to run on, and maybe a little sprinkling of mud just for good measure. So there you have it folks, the brand new Morphlite trail running shoe from Merrell. I'm glad to say that my lungs are starting to feel a bit better, and I've got a couple of runs under my belt this week. So I'm really looking forward to today's run. So without further ado, let's get these laced up and let's get running. Today's route is going to start off with a good section of tarmac as we head out from home in Hale. This is going to be a great test for the Morphlite on the hard stuff to see how the cushioning in the midsole handles it. So I'm going to be running along the King George V Memorial Walk, where I've run quite a few miles over the years, looking out at all the wonderful wildlife in the Copper House Pool. continuing through the historic mining town of Hale, past the viaduct that was built in 1884, and then we're on to the busy main road section heading out of the town, with more stunning views across the RSPB Hale estuary, onto the Lant Saltings, following all the coast path signs, and then the final section of road will take me through the picturesque Cornish village of Lelant, and we'll be following the train line that actually takes you all the way into the stunning Cornish town of St Ives. One last push up the long tarmac hill out of Lelant, and we pop out the top, and I'm happy to say the trails are now in sight.
Wow, I didn't check the forecast before we came out. I didn't realise how windy it was. It made that road section super tough, but we've ticked off 5 miles already, and 5 miles of the hard stuff, and the Morphlite from Merrell soaked it up with ease. I wouldn't say it's as soft as the cushioning in the Agility Peak 5, but still feels very comfortable underfoot. Like I say, no issues on the road section there, and really enjoying the weight. You know, at 259 grams in a UK 9.5, you really do feel like you're running in a lightweight trail shoe. Hopefully the wind isn't distorting the audio too much, because it's pretty blustery here, but in the background there you can see the golden sands of Hale, so that's where we've come from, and now we're going to be heading out onto the coast path and heading towards Carbis Bay. So let's see how the new Morphlite handles the trails. Don't forget guys, if you are watching the channel and you're enjoying the content but you're yet to subscribe, then maybe today is the day. So super simple to do, just by clicking on that little red box down there in the corner, and it is completely free. Only takes a second, but it is a massive help. Also, while you're there, click on that little bell icon, because then you'll be notified when we upload any new exciting running content.
I'm done looking over my shoulder. This past time won't help me getting over it. I don't know what I'm bringing in closer. Yeah, I'm looking ahead, looking out.
I know what you're thinking, some view, innit? How lucky am I to have this on my doorstep?
Maybe someday when I've grown older, I can see it all clear from above, looking back on it all.
They're big steps. Turning point. We're heading home.
Ooh, but it's a lonely calling. Yeah, it's a lonely calling.
Okay, so we are back on the hard stuff, and we managed a good 4.5 miles out there on the trails, out and back, and the Morphlite actually handled them all really well, and it was some pretty varied underfoot conditions. So we had a bit of soft sand to deal with, then a bit of sort of wet slippery rock, and we even picked up a few sections of mud. And there was one point where I had to run up a really steep, sort of greasy, slippery tarmac hill, and the level of grip from the rubber was brilliant. And like I said, even though there's only a 3mm lug depth, traction's been good on all them surfaces, so they actually performed a lot better than I thought they would. So we've covered almost 9 miles already. It's probably going to be about 12 miles by the time we get home. And when I headed off, I had no intentions of running that far, but you know, the lungs have felt okay, legs have felt really good, so I just kept going. So I think we're back and we can get stuck into full training again and hopefully find another race to take on. But let's get back to the studio. We'll give you guys a full conclusion on how the Morphlite from Merrell has performed on his first run.
Well, I am very happy with that, because I managed to get in just shy of 13 miles, so 12.83 miles to be precise, and I think that's pretty good mileage for a brand new shoe straight out the box. And the Morphlite handled it all really well. I would say a challenging route for most running shoes with long sections of pavement and road, and then when we did pick up the trails, we had some pretty varied underfoot conditions. Like I mentioned, out on the run, the outsole actually performed pretty good on everything. I was especially surprised with it only having a 3mm lug depth, so good levels of traction and some nice sticky rubber. I think the shoe would have struggled quite a lot more if it had been wetter and muddier on that coastal path section, but you know, the Morphlite's not really designed for those type of running conditions, so I think it's a trail shoe that's going to give you good levels of grip on those firmer, drier trails, so things like tow paths, gravel tracks and fire roads. As far as midsole cushioning goes, it was comfortable underfoot. This Float Pro foam used in the midsole isn't super soft. I wouldn't say this is a deeply cushioned trail shoe, but I had more than enough cushioning underfoot to soak up, 7.5 miles out there on today's run, and I had no issues with comfort at all. And then finally, moving on to the upper, it felt nice and light and airy wrapped around my foot, and for me personally, it's got just the right level of padding in that gusseted tongue and around the ankle collar. In fact, the only slight issue I had is more of a personal fit thing, so I would say the Morphlite is true to size, so this UK 9.5 fitted me perfect on length, and I would say they've got an average width in the toe box, but that upper is quite deep at the midfoot. Now, if you followed the channel for any period of time, you'll know that I'm quite narrow and shallow in foot shape. So I did have to pull those laces down pretty tight to feel well held at the midfoot, and to the point where I had to actually stop mid-run, retie those laces, pull them down tight again, because I did feel like there's a little bit of movement within the upper. So my only worry would be is that over time, as the shoe gives and that upper stretches, that I might struggle to get locked down in the shoe. So I definitely think the Morphlite would work better for someone with a high instep or a deeper foot shape, so you'd have a better fit around that midfoot and you wouldn't have to pull those laces down so tight. For me, the Merrell Agility Peak 5 definitely works better for my foot shape, and you know, like I just said, this is more of a personal fit issue than a problem with the shoe. So rounding up, and I think Merrell have produced a pretty decent sort of crossover entry-level trail shoe at a very realistic price, but still looks really well put together. We got some nice fabrics, good cushioning in that midsole, and an outsole that performed way better than I thought it would. Now, I've run in sort of cheaper priced trail running shoes before, and you put them on, you go running, and you can tell that they're cheaper priced shoes, whereas I didn't get that feel out there today in these. Now, there is one more thing that I noticed out there on today's run, and when I tested out the Merrell Agility Peak 5 for the first time, I did say in the video that it really did remind me of one of my favourite trail running shoes, the brilliant Hoka Speedgoat 3. I mean, it looked, felt and performed very similar, which is a good thing to me because I love that shoe. And now that I've spent a bit more time in these, I've had a decent look at it. Now, it is very, very similar to the Hoka Torrent. I mean, it pretty much is identical weight. It feels and fits and perform very similar level of cushioning in that midsole. So it's just a hunch. I don't know whether it is the case, but has someone left the Hoka design team in the last couple of years and gone and worked at Merrell? Again, it could just be a coincidence, but I don't know whether that is the case, but if you've got some behind the scenes information, let us know all about it in the comments below. Okay, so that brings another first impressions video to an end. Really hope you've enjoyed it, really hope you found it helpful. Don't forget, if you have, to like, comment, share and subscribe if you haven't already, because it really is a big help to the channel. I'm very excited about our next first impressions video because it is going to be the first time that we feature a Puma running shoe. Now, is it Puma or is it Puma? We tend to call it Puma here in the UK, but I'll go with Puma because I don't want to get in trouble in the comments. But we're going to be testing out the Velocity Nitro 3. I've been hearing some great feedback about this road shoe, so very excited to get my feet in them and to test them out. But for now, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting the channel, it really is appreciated. We'll be back here very soon, and as always, stay safe and keep on running. It's also a pretty lightweight shoe, weighing in only 249 grams in my size, a UK 9.5. We've got a 26 And then flipping them over, we've got a multi-directional lugged outsole design. We've got 2mm lugs down the center, and then we've got three roll lugs.
Oh, they are big steps. This is the turning point. We're heading home. Whee. The old wind strikes again, eh? I love the wind. I just love it. I love the wind when I'm filming. It's great.